Hooray!
Hooray!
Print!
Welcome to the 1st Troop Philadelphia City Cavalry, Troop A, 1st Squadron, 104th Cavalry. Change of command. During today's ceremony, Captain Garri B. Hendel will assume command of the troop from Captain Tyler Hathaway. The change of command ceremony is rooted in military tradition dating back to the 18th century, during the reign of Frederick the Great of Prussia. At that time, organizational flags were developed with colors and symbols unique to each unit. Troop-sized units developed small flags which became known as guidons. In addition to its guidon, the troop has the unique distinction of being the only company-sized unit in the Army that has authorized its own battalion-sized flag. The troop standard is posted next to the state and national colors. It is the guidon and its commander that the soldiers of the unit dedicate their loyalty and trust. Thus, whenever a change of command takes place, the guidon is passed from the individual relinquishing command to the individual assuming command. This is done in front of the entire troop so that all troopers can see and witness their new leader assuming command. He who holds the guidon symbolically holds the trooper's allegiance. Captain Hathaway relinquishes command of the troop today, having assumed it nearly 40 years ago. His military service has been entirely in the 1st Squadron, 104th Cavalry. In 1992, he enlisted as a cavalry scout in the troop. He graduated from State OCS in 1996, and after accepting his commission, served as scout platoon leader with the troop. He was deployed in that position to Bosnia in 2002 and 2003. After a brief assignment as acting executive officer, he was promoted to the rank of captain and became the squadron adjutant and personnel officer S1, in which capacity he served at the squadron headquarters during his deployment to the Sinai in 2007-2008. Assuming command of the troop in 2010, he oversaw the rebuilding of the Army after a disastrous fire and led the troop during its most recent deployment to Kuwait in 2012 and 2013. Captain Garri Hendel was recently elected to lead the troop and assume command today. He began his service with the New York Army National Guard while still living in Canada. Enlisting to serve with the Buffalo City Guards, 1st Battalion, 127th Armor, after completing National Guard Bureau Accelerated Officer Candidate School, he served on battalion staff after the battalion was redesignated 2nd Squadron, 101st Cavalry Regiment. Captain Hendel was assigned as a platoon leader in Troop A, 2nd of the 101st Cavalry. He subsequently transferred to Maryland, deploying to Iraq in 2007-2008 as platoon leader in Troop A, 1st and 158th Cavalry. After service as the troop's executive officer, Captain Hendel was selected to serve as the aide-de-camp to Brigadier General Peter Hinds. He served with General Peter Hinds at the 29th Infantry Division headquarters, as well as Maryland's Joint Force headquarters. During an additional duty tour at the National Guard Bureau, Captain Hendel accepted a position as an assistant operations officer with 1st Squadron, 104th Cavalry. In that capacity, he deployed with the squadron during its recent deployment to Kuwait. The senior officer present today is Brigadier General Retired Peter Hinds. The presiding officer for today's ceremony is the commander of the 1st Squadron, 104th Cavalry, Lieutenant Colonel Todd Sawinski. Also present today is the 55th Armored Brigade Commander, Colonel Michael Konsman, and several former squadron commanders, Colonel Bob Langle, Colonel Tony Gray, and Colonel Hugh Reddick. There's also former commanders of the troop, Honorary Captains Charles Meredith, Honorary Captain Dennis Boylan, Honorary Captain Keith Rogers, Honorary Captain Harry Gabora, Honorary Captain Eric Gunther, and Honorary Captain Lawrence Field. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of the official party.
True! Two! Unchanged! Sir, troop is formed. Officers vote.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the singing of the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming through the stripes and bright stars?
Flowers to Mrs. Hathaway.
Publish the order.
Attention orders. By direction of the Governor of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and in accordance with this troop's ancient rights and privileges, Captain Garri Benjamin Hendel is appointed Commanding Officer of Troop A, 1st Squadron, 104th Cavalry, Whiskey Tango Uniform 4 Alpha Zero, effective 23 March 2014. Signed, Wesley Craig, Major General, the Adjutant General.
Officers post.
The passing of the guidon is a time-honored tradition, signifying the responsibility associated with the command ceremony. The first sergeant, representing the backbone of the troop, hands the guidon to the outgoing commander. The outgoing commander then passes the guidon to the troop's honorary captains, who stand according to seniority. The guidon is then passed from the junior honorary captain down to the senior honorary captain present, who then passes the guidon to the squadron commander, signifying the history and continuity of the command and the return of the responsibility to the squadron commander. The squadron commander then passes the guidon to the incoming commander, thus demonstrating his confidence in the incoming commander's ability to undertake the responsibility of command. Attention orders. The undersigned assumes command of 1st Troop Philadelphia City Cavalry, Troop A, 1st Squadron, 104th Cavalry, effective 23 March 2014. Signed, Garri Benjamin Hendel, Captain, Armor, Commanding. Please be seated.
Stand at eat.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 1st Squadron, 104th Cavalry Commander, Lieutenant Colonel Todd Sawinski.
General Hinds, Colonel Consman, former squadron commanders, Ray, Reddit, and Langell, honorary captains, distinguished guests, families, visitors, and soldiers of A Troop, and our special guest, Dr. David Hendel, Reuben Hendel, and Ripley Hathaway. Thank you for being here to witness this very special ceremony. Over the past several years, I've had the privilege to serve with and learn from the professional troopers of A Troop, 1st to 104th Cat, well led by an outstanding troop commander, Captain Tyler Hathaway. Throughout Tyler's tenure, I have been impressed by A Troop's capability, dedication, and professionalism, particularly during a challenging train-up and subsequent OEF deployment during a period of transformation in Kuwait and throughout Southwest Asia. Under Captain Hathaway's leadership, A Troop proved to be team players and were critical to the squadron's overall success in Kuwait, expertly executing our commander's imperatives in support of Arsenal's assets, Camp Patriot, and the Kuwait Naval Base. The troopers standing before us today spent most of the past year conducting thousands of personnel and vehicle searches, protecting a joint and multinational force at Camp Patriot and the Kuwait Naval Base, and securing several strategic high-value asset missions in support of operations throughout the Middle East. In addition to meeting mission requirements, Captain Hathaway always remained focused on the most important thing, taking care of the team. This was evident in a number of quantitative measures over the past 2 years, highlighted by your success on the Sec 4 deployment and in doing what I asked you to do, leave it better than you found it, which was more than evident to 710 Cav when they assumed responsibility for your mission. Most importantly, you brought your troopers home safely and better prepared in life and in the Army than they were when you embarked on this journey 2 years ago. A Troop's successful execution of these critically important missions demonstrates their ability to successfully operate and succeed in a strategic and multinational environment. Of course, A Troop is no stranger to deployments, having deployed to Bosnia, Iraq, Egypt, Kuwait over the past 10 years, likely making them one of the most deployed units in the Pennsylvania National Guard and throughout the Army. Captain Hathaway proudly served on 3 of those deployments during his 20-year career in the squadron, most of which was spent right here in A Troop. Of course, many of the troopers standing before us today proudly answered our nation's and our Commonwealth's call to duty over the past decade. But regardless of how many deployments and where they were successfully performing these missions, I can confidently say that each and every trooper in this formation bears the honor of representing something much bigger than themselves. The very rich lineage, heritage, and tradition of service to our great nation, which the 1st Troop, Philadelphia City Cavalry, forged nearly 240 years ago. A Troop, you have been and will continue to be a valuable force multiplier for the 28th Infantry Division and for the United States Army. Tyler, it really has been a privilege for me to serve with you as commander and as a fellow cavalryman over the past 7 years. We are all very proud of A Troop's accomplishments, which would have not been possible without your leadership and the tremendous service, loyalty, and dedication of the troopers standing before us today. You have increased the capability and overall readiness of A Troop and of our squadron, and I wish you all the best for continued success in your next assignment at Division Headquarters and in life. I have tremendous confidence that Captain Garri is up to the task to raise the bar even higher in support of our commander's objectives and requirements. I've known Garri for several years while he served as our squadron assistant S3 and plans officer. I had the wonderful opportunity to watch him develop as a leader and to learn from him in the process. Garri is a well-rounded cavalry officer with successful leadership and operational assignments in multiple units. Most recently, Garri served as the squadron plans officer and the U.S. liaison to the Kuwait Navy, a job few wanted and one in which you greatly exceeded our expectations. Garri, the success we enjoyed in meeting the RSEN Commander's top imperative of forging and enhancing host nation partnerships was directly a result of your efforts, and it was noted by multiple general officers. We thank you for that. Captain Hendel, I now charge you with leading these troopers. Work with them and learn from them, and in the end, leave this unit better than you found it. But most importantly, take care of these soldiers and their families. To both commanders and to all the troopers standing here today, I want to thank you and your families for your dedication and for the sacrifices you have made and will continue to make in the service of our nation. Over, under, or through.
Ladies and gentlemen, the former troop commander, Captain Tyler Hathaway.
Well, it's my job as the outgoing commander to keep it short, so I mainly just want to say thanks to so many people, more people than I really can in a short space of time. So just start with that. It's a real pleasure to be able to hold the ceremony here on the 3rd floor. When I took command, we had it down in the drill floor. A little bit of a different atmosphere. This room was just a shell on that date. So there's so many people to thank for making that possible, for getting this armory put back together. But I especially want to thank Honorary Bob, Honorary Captain Boylan, and non-active Sergeant Timmons. He's not here today, but all those people made it possible and helped me greatly in seeing that happened. I also want to thank the donors who helped financially, particularly Honorary Sergeant Peter Hamilton, who gave very generously to help rebuild the building the way you see it today. I'd like to thank troopers, some of the troopers that donate their pay to keep this armory going, allow us to keep our great traditions going. Personally, I want to thank Honorary Captain Thayer Gunther and John Timmons, Squadron Commander, former Squadron Commander Lango who taught me how to be an S1, Quartermaster Gresh, and most importantly, my wife Ripley, who has managed to hold front for me through 3 deployments, which, as many of you know, is not an easy thing to do. Finally, thanks to the men of the troop who made me look good. I had the great privilege to command you guys for nearly 4 years, and it's going to take a lot of stress off my shoulders, but I really will miss it, actually. This change of command should celebrate your service to the nation, to the Commonwealth, and to each other. Thanks, John.
Ladies and gentlemen, the new troop commander, Captain Garri Benjamin Hendel.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. I believe these ceremonies are really more about celebrating the accomplishments of the commander and the troop, and not really about the new guy. So I'm going to try to be as brief as I can. I will add my own personal thanks to Captain Hathaway. Tyler, I really appreciate the personal assistance and the courtesy and the friendship you've shown to me throughout the time we served together in the squadron and during this transition, which has really been incredibly helpful. About the unit, I mean, I had the privilege of serving alongside these guys at Kuwait Naval Base for 9 months last year, and from my observations of them in the field, I know it's a very, very good unit. Quality guys, quality NCOs, fantastic. They're capable men. It is, however, more than just a good unit. It's a wholly unique creature. The history is in itself mind-boggling. It's really mind-boggling. I won't dwell on it. There are many more knowledgeable people than I am about it. But it's impressive beyond what you even think. Even more important than the history, though, in my mind, is what the unit represents. To me, it represents what's best in the National Guard and what's best in our Army. Because here is where men who were motivated by nothing but their conscience and equipped with little more than their patriotism kind of fought for a country that wasn't yet born. They came together to defend it. They weren't told to do it. They weren't forced to do it. They weren't paid to do it. They just did it. And here's where they've been coming together to do that kind of in an unbroken line ever since. I'm very glad to be here with you guys, and with these we stop.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the benediction from Chaplain Dean.
Gracious and eternal God, we thank you for this day and for what it brings to the Hathaway and the Hendel families, and for what it brings to the 1st Troop Philadelphia City Cavalry. We give you thanks for Captain Hathaway and the leadership that he has given across these years, for his dedication to this unit, to this building, and to the spirit of those who founded this unit 239 years ago. We give you thanks for the joy we see in Captain Hendel, and hope that he keeps that joy in his eyes through the days that come. We also would pray for this unit, for the new endeavors that it strives to take. We ask that your blessing be upon us and upon our families. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift the light of his countenance upon you and give you peace, both now and in the life everlasting. Amen. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, remain standing for the departure of the official party and dismissal.
Excel, take charge of the troop.
Troop. Two. Attention. First sergeant, post.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. On behalf of the official party, thank you for attending. Captain Hendel requests the pleasure of your company for reception in the second floor museum.
Platoon sergeant, take charge of your platoon.